Cats. Marcus, why don't you introduce us?
Hi, welcome to the podcast today. This is Unqualified Commentary, as nobody could get right, apparently. We're a podcast where none of us are even certified to talk about sports, but we're doing it anyway. So, I'm Marcus. We'll move on to the next person.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Jay.
And we are your host for today's podcast. So let's talk a little bit about why we started the podcast, Jay.
So, we're part of a larger friend group. The rest of the friend group does not care as much about sports as we do, obviously. They're not in the sports podcast. But the bigger group chat, we were just popping off about sports one day, and it got very late, and we stayed up till like 1 o'clock in the morning talking about sports and annoying the hell out of everyone else in the group chat. So we made our own group chat, made jokes about starting our own podcast, and here we are trying to film our first episode, and this is our, third attempt at filming.
We've had some serious technical difficulties, mainly Marcus and I, Jay.
Oh, yeah.
On time, perfectly every time. But we're here today, and we're going to do it, so it's exciting. So I think we'll talk a little bit about why we each got into sports, on our own, and then how we kind of moved into doing this, where we talk about sports all the time. I myself played sports all the way up through, elementary, middle school, and high school, and then I played a year of D3 soccer, but I'm a big basketball fan, big WNBA fan. I also love watching hockey, and football's fun too, but definitely a basketball and a hockey girl through and through.
So, I started playing sports back before elementary school. I started with soccer, but mostly stuck with baseball and basketball. I only stopped playing probably about freshman year of high school. That's about the last time I got around to any of those sports. Granted, nowadays I've stuck to fishing my whole life. That's been something I've consistently done. I started playing golf in college, so getting into golf now, but still, I'm a big fan of sports, watching basketball, football, hockey, anything, you name it, I'll probably watch it. It'll probably be on the screen to my other side that nobody else can see but me.
Alright, so I started playing sports around 5 with soccer, t-ball, the usual toddler sports. Worst player on the field, by far. Played basketball, volleyball through middle school into high school. Played 1 year of D3 volleyball before we got the entire sports program shut down. It was a combination of a few things, but I think the volleyball team was slightly responsible for that. And sports is one of the few things I can talk about with my family without it being a landmine. So I really enjoy it. I love hockey, obsessed with the PWHL. They had their first game tonight. Still haven't watched it yet. It's being recorded. But,
Yeah, I know. Last I saw, it was a 1-1 with the Fleet, and I'm very excited to see the results of that game. I haven't looked yet, though.
I think I got spoiled on the results. I'm not 100% sure. Because, clearly, I'm not looking at the right games when I'm looking at the website.
Earlier, I asked her about it, and she said it was running at 6, and I was like, no, it definitely started at 2, because I've seen updates. But
this is why the recording feature is a great feature on the TV.
Absolutely, record your sports.
So I don't need to have my shit together to watch my games.
Hey, just record the sports.
Yes.
Yeah, I have the Bruins game I've got to watch from yesterday, because we lost our power, so I didn't get to see it. I've heard it's not a pretty one to watch, so I just might watch the play-by-play, the key plays.
Sorry, the Bruins, I'm mad at them. I need to look up his name. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but that one damn Bruins player who managed to land them penalties from the bench. Dude, you're an idiot.
So, the Bruins this year have been kind of crazy. I think we'll kind of start with that news if you guys want.
That's fine. I don't know nothing on it, so I'm learning on the fly.
So, Marcus, let us tell you about the Boston Bruins this season. So,
well, I understand they're
being,
mid.
They're very good.
They are mid this season. We're pretty disappointed, but the drama, for starters, they had two of the best goalies in the league last year, hands down.
Yes, they started out with the two best goalies who did the cutest thing on ice, which was the goalie hug, which has been destroyed because they let Allmark go, and then they almost fumbled Swayman.
They signed him the day before regular season started. I know that he didn't go to a single day of training camp, which was really making the Bruins fans kind of nervous, and I mean, me too. So, fun fact, Jeremy Swayman is actually an alumni of my graduate school, UMaine. So, shout out to him.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. But no, and then now, just not last week, yeah, they fired the head coach just for funsies.
My brother was so excited when they fired the head coach because he's been hoping that would happen because he really liked the coach that they had before this.
Gotcha. So that he didn't like Montgomery.
So he didn't like Montgomery, and he wanted Montgomery to crash and burn because he wanted essentially revenge for them letting the other one go. I should look up names. I'm bad at names.
I don't know. I can see that 2 players got fined for $5,000.
Oh, but I mean, that's pretty normal. Is it for the penalties?
For the unsportsmanlike slashing and conduct, yeah. It's for the penalties. 1938 of the first period.
Yeah, speaking of just like watching the Bruins crumble, this is like my first season actually actively watching them a lot, and I started last year during the Maple Leafs in the playoffs, and that was hard to watch. It never feels good when you go to a full series early on in the playoffs.
No.
No, but I think the Bruins went into the playoffs with that curse of that one trophy that I can't remember the name of, because they won that trophy, and every time any team goes in the playoffs, they get eliminated.
In other hockey news, though, did you guys see? I'm gonna butcher his name, but it's Nico Hischier in his first career hat trick. He plays for the Jersey Devils.
Oh, trust me, I've seen a lot on it already.
He was the highest drafted Switzerland-born player in the league, and he was drafted in 2017 as one of the top first-round picks. So I think that's really fun. And then the Jersey Devils have hung on to him for the last couple of years, 7 years almost now. But that hat trick was crazy.
Yeah, the fact you can play for the fact he started in 2015. He's 25. He started playing 9 years ago. All his playing career is 2015. 2017 was hockey, but he would have been. That's ridiculous. He's still 18 at the time. That's nuts. Going into a professional sport at that young is nuts.
Yeah.
But if we talk about young players, we can think about like Cooper Flagg, for instance. He's only 17 playing for Duke, and the way that he dunks on fools is ridiculous. Jay, how much do you know about Cooper Flagg?
I know nothing.
Okay, well, Cooper Flagg was born in Newport, Maine, and he went down to Florida to play for a premier high school that like is focused on sports. Him and his twin brother. So this is the story that I think is the funniest. He is the #1 high school recruit for college basketball this year, but his brother didn't even get recruited. Womp womp. So his brother's still in high school. Technically, Cooper Flagg graduated early to go play for Duke. So he is 17 years old, absolutely dunking on what they expect to be like first round draft picks for the NBA next year. And so he's out here playing against like 21 and 22-year-old 6-year seniors because of the COVID year. And he's just dunking on them. He's doing pretty well, actually. I watched the game the other night against, I can't remember who they were playing, but
It was the Kansas game.
and they ended up ejecting the player. Like I showed sent you guys that ESPN clip where he
Yeah, he kicked him in the head.
kicked him in the face and he got ejected. But
Yeah.
after he had been kind of shutting Cooper Flagg down the whole game, but then after he left the game, man just started dunking on fools. I'm really excited to see where his career goes.
Yeah, Cooper Flagg didn't have him. He didn't have that impressive of stats that game. He still had a good amount, but he didn't do. I mean, for college, it's still good because it was 13 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's like an average college player, but his other games have been ridiculous.
I don't even know how to like explain to you how a 17-year-old would even begin to do that. At 17 years old, I was not doing that at all.
17 is when I quit basketball.
17, I was fishing.
Yeah.
I was in the middle of a river fishing.
Yes.
You're always in the middle of a river fishing,
This
Marcus.
is true.
Did I ever tell you, Rachel, that you started to get me into the WNBA? Okay, no. So this was during like the playoffs, and sending me clips of this. We're talking about it. I want to watch. I watch. I get through the entire game. I'm getting into it. I'm like, this is fun. I don't know who I'm rooting for. I'm just here for the vibes and the good time. I am having so much fun. I'm like, I can't wait for like the rest of the series. And then it took the confetti coming out at the end of the game to realize it was the last game. That was it. You just started getting into it for the last game. And how the hell I missed that for the entirety of the game, that this was like all cards on the table, winner takes all situation, because I was getting into it. And then, nope, that was it.
Yikes.
So you were watching the New York Liberty win the series for the championship of the WNBA against the Minnesota Lynx. That's actually hilarious.
I had no idea that was it.
That series was crazy because so many people have argued that New York didn't actually deserve to win that because of the refs. I don't know. I was rooting for New York, so I was pretty happy when they won.
I mean, they have a pretty awesome mascot, so.
But, like, if you look at the series as a whole, the reffing kind of went either way, one night or the other. They were never, like... I would never say that the reffing was fair throughout the entire series.
Never.
It was either one way or the other, very, like... lenient.
Very lopsided, but not continuously the entire series.
That is one thing that I think the WNBA really needs to improve on, and that is definitely better reffing. The reffing in the WNBA is actually pretty...
100%.
Pretty bad.
Yeah. I know that there was a few calls that when I was watching, I was such like, really?
Are you sure?
You sure about that?
I was biased that whole finals, so.
I was too, for New York. My team, of course, is the Indiana Fever, because I'm a big Caitlin Clark stan, so I'll admit I was a bit of a bandwagon fan.
Bandwagon.
I know, but I got to see her actual first game. I went down to Connecticut to see it with my parents, and we really just had a blast watching her this season. And honestly, I'm excited to see Paige Beckers come into the W next season to see if because a lot of people are comparing her to Caitlin Clark and like the Caitlin Clark effect, saying that Paige Beckers has a very similar outcome. And Paige Beckers, just for reference, plays for UConn currently. She's in her COVID year, so her last year of eligibility in the NCAA.
5th season.
She's really good. She was the #1 recruit when she came in, same year as Caitlin, right? So that was 5 years ago now.
Maybe. I think it was either the year of or the year before or year after.
Yeah, she ended up hurting her knee and then going out for a season and then hurting her knee again, I think. She ended up tearing 2 ligaments. Yeah, it was really bad. And so she kind of missed quite a bit of time playing in college, but now she's back and she's stronger than ever. And they're saying that she's going to be the number one pick this year.
I was about to say she'd be going to Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas got the #1 pick.
Oh, seeing the Sparks so sad not getting that first pick was kind of funny.
I know. I wanted to see Cam Brink and Paige Beckers playing together so badly.
Oh, but still, that video, seeing all of their reactions in the same room, I was kind of laughing at it. I won't lie.
It was really funny. It was. I was kind of sad that we didn't get to get a viewpoint from Dallas, really.
No, I noticed that we never got that viewpoint, but I mean, still, they're probably all jumping up, popping champagne like they just won the finals. So, because the first pick means a lot.
The Paige Beckers lottery.
Yeah, that first pick means a lot.
We saw the impact that it had. And we saw the impact that it had this
Yeah.
year.
The first pick went to Caitlin Clark, and then the Fever somehow made it to the playoffs.
For the first time since 2016. So I'm glad this year, Jay, I'll have to get you into it. You'll have to pick a team to root for.
I already picked a team.
I thought it was the Sun. Didn't we already go over that?
We acknowledged I had the 2 fiancé players because I'm in it for the girls and the gays, and the nickname being Sunshine, Connecticut Suns, it makes sense. It sucks, however, that the color's orange because that's my least favorite color, but I can look past that for a bit. I just might not be wearing their jersey.
Yeah, but their dark uniforms are cool.
Okay.
There's a little orange on it, but it's primarily black. So
that I can be down for.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
I do like their jerseys.
So we're going to the game?
Oh, yeah. Speaking of going to live sports, Jay and I will be going to see the Boston Fleet play. Who are they playing against?
December 17th. That's a good question. I used to know that information. I think they're playing Montreal. I think they're playing one of the Canadian teams.
Marcus, just for reference, if you're listening in, is our stats guy. He's quick on the keyboard and he also knows way too many stats for his own health.
It's Ottawa.
Oh.
Ottawa. Yeah, you were right. It's a Canadian team.
It's a Canadian team. I had the wrong Canadian team, but
you had the right country.
I had the right country.
Yeah, we had a 50-50 shot. Canada or the Americans.
I was hoping I was going to point that out.
Let us take a win where we get one. Yeah, no, I think it's been really cool watching just like women's sports in general this year has been truly phenomenal. Just the uptick. And a lot of people are saying that it's from Caitlin Clark. A lot of people are saying it's from others and just like the people that have built it up before. But I genuinely think that it's been on the upscale for a while because we can look back to a couple years ago when we started hearing about like women's soccer way more than we ever heard about the men's. Like, to be honest, men's soccer wasn't even on my radar.
But
and then with college basketball and just like the drama, it's just so good. Like, you get to hear so many more stories from the women's side now.
And I feel like the women are more open to be more honest and more authentic. And what I found, it might just be the bubble on TikTok that I personally am in. But I see so much more of like the PWHL players posting like silly little TikToks, silly little personal things than I ever see the men do. Like I see like the men's like the Bruins page and like the Avalanche page, like and things that their TikTok social media managers have like made for them to post, like the iconic Bruins country post that they did that got deleted. Like I see those things, but I very rarely, if ever, see any of the individual players posting like funny little TikToks, funny little things, or just talking to the camera on their personal accounts. Yeah. So it feels like there's less separation between the fans and the players in women's sports right now. And I think that's really cool that it feels like you're not just supporting a team, but you're supporting the individual players.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. But I will say the one exception, and the reason that I've really gotten into watching the 76ers play is the little rookie, Jared McCain. He's not so little. He's going on TikTok, and he's posting a little singing video, and then he's dropping 30 points on you as a rookie. And to be completely honest, it's one of my favorite activities to go watch his TikToks and then go watch his games and seeing just like him absolutely kill it. But
he is quite literally the man of the people.
Mm-hmm. He is. What do you guys think? Do you think he'll win Rookie of the Year this year if he keeps it up?
I have to think about the other rookies. Jared McCain's, because it's Dalton. Jared McCain's doing great. Dalton Connect 4 Lakers. He's doing good. He's hitting his shots. He's being a pivotal player, but in part of keeping up with McCain, I think he's slowly falling back.
Yeah.
Just because McCain's starting.
Here's my thing. McCain is starting because there's an injury, right? And I would like to see him keep starting, but the season is so long, and I think that for him to win the Rookie of the Year this year, he has to like genuinely keep up these numbers, and these numbers are kind of ridiculous. Like he's shooting, I think 50%, which is pretty high.
I think it was 46% last I looked. 46 current stats. He's at 45. He's averaging 16.5 points.
Even if he starts out great and incredible, if he starts to crash like halfway through the season, he's not getting it.
Or an injury.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the W this year, Cam Brink was in the rookie running, and then she got hurt, and I think she tore her ACL, and she wasn't even in the conversation by the end of the season.
Yeah, and looking at his stats, I mean, his points per game and field goal percentage are pretty good for a rookie. His rebounds and assists are okay. I can't see any other stats apart from that. I don't know what his steals are like, his blocks are like. But he's still putting up good numbers because he did have a lot of 20 point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He had 7 20-point games in a row, 20-plus point, which is ridiculous for a rookie.
I would have loved to see him and Cooper Flagg play together because he played for Duke last year, and Cooper Flagg's playing for Duke this year, but it's a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, he only played for that 1 year, and it looks like, I mean, he was picked 16th, so that's a higher contract to get signed to. Obviously, the first pick's going to get the most money, but still 16th in basketball is a pretty high pick still, because there's not many picks.
I think another thing that has been really interesting this week is, Marcus, you were telling us before the podcast started about how the Bears fired their head coach in the NFL.
Oh, yeah. His clock management and time management in that game was awful, because it's a whole thing when it comes to timeouts and saving the clock at the end of the game to try and score. Obviously, the Bears were down by 3 points, so your main goal is either to score a touchdown or get into field goal range to either tie it up or win. At the end of the game, his clock management for that kind of setup was god awful. Obviously, I'm glad they fired him because he did something bad for a team, but for the end of the day, like, the Bears made the right decision in firing him, because you need a coach that's going to be able to manage the clock, be able to run the game, be able to play the game, and not do something like that where you're missing an important point in the game.
Yeah. I think so. I think that we could go into our plays of the week if you guys want. So we're gonna do a little segment every week where each of us pick a play that we think is the best. Mine this week, I don't know how many of you watched the Dallas Cowboys versus the New York Giants on Thanksgiving. Did either of you watch it?
I saw clips.
Did you guys see the touchdown that what came from the interception?
No.
Oh, yes. I know exactly what this play is. That was ridiculous, but it was funny at the same time.
It was so funny. So I don't know all that much about football, but I think this is definitely my play of the week because it was honestly the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. So the Cowboys, they weren't really set to beat the Giants, all in all. And we had this guy come out of nowhere.
It was DeMarvion Overshone got the interception.
Overshown?
Yeah. He was the one that blocked it and then basically caught it himself, and then...
So basically, Jay, they're playing football, right? And so the quarterback goes to throw a short pass, and one of the defensive players, I'm not sure where he was playing at the time, basically just didn't get blocked by the correct blocker, and he just like went around it and he hit the football out of midair, and it was like the luckiest play that I've ever seen in my life because he hits the ball and he hits it just forward enough that as he's running, it like almost just fell right into his arms and he just made it down. And honestly, it's what won them the game at the end of the day because they didn't win by much. It was a close game the entire time. And so ultimately they won because of this touchdown, and it was crazy. I love interceptions personally, and we were all just like hooting and hollering around the couch on Thanksgiving for it. So
That's pretty awesome. I will definitely be looking that up immediately after the podcast.
That was a ridiculous play.
Hey, what's your play of the week?
So, as a hockey girly, I love goalie goals. And if you are watching hockey at all, you know about this. But the Capitals goalie got a goalie goal. The only problem was it was in his own net. And it's just iconic and unique, just not in the way that they want it to be for the Capitals. But he got the puck, and what I assume he was trying to do is hit it off the boards behind the net, or he just completely lost control of the puck.
That was his goal.
And it just went right into his
So
goal.
he got the puck. There wasn't really anyone in his end. So what he looks like he was trying to do, unless he completely lost control of the puck, was try to bank it off the boards behind his net so it comes out the other side to pass to like his teammates and stuff like that. However, he slipped up and hit it directly into his own net, which he was out a little further from his net. He was not directly in front of his own net, which is what made this possible. And just like his body language after this goal, because it's a good goal. If it goes in the net, it's a good goal. Like, it was just hilarious, and the Capitals aren't my team, so I don't really care what happens to them, but I will take an iconic goalie goal any day of the week.
I can imagine the embarrassment. So back in high school, I used to play goalkeeper for soccer, and I can imagine the embarrassment of like kicking it or hitting it into your own goal. Like that sinking feeling in his stomach must have just like dropped him. I don't know. Did they keep him in the game for the rest of the game? Do you know?
I believe so.
That sucks. Poor guy. I kind of feel bad for him. He's out here. I know he's a professional player, but
Because, I mean, to pull him out of the goal in the middle of a game, when, yes, he made a damn stupid move, but it wasn't like he was playing like a shitty goalie and letting a lot of like saves in. It was a fluke accident. And to pull him out and have another goalie get in and warm up would probably cause more harm than good.
that's fair. Yeah.
But I think, who won that? I think they might have ended up winning the game anyway.
Googling.
But it gave Tampa the lead at the time. It was 3-3. It was tied up at the time, which made it a whole lot worse. And then it was 4-3 because they just gifted them a goal.
It was the Lightning, and it gave the Lightning the lead.
Yeah.
Big yikes. The thing is, too, is that happens more often than it should.
They lost because of it?
Let me see. I'm looking. Lightning. No, it looks like they won, but it looks like...
Then the 4-3 lead.
And then they won...
Caps went on a power play and scored. Well, he got lucky, let me tell ya. My goodness.
So, it's about a week ago it happened, but still, it happened the same day we tried recording last time. But this goes to UFC, so completely different side of the spectrum here. But it's Ming Shi or Shi Ming, I don't know which way it goes. The registered doctor that got into the UFC ring and has a secret life as a fighter, won a UFC contract with the most brutal knockout possible. And this makes me cringe. Like, it was full on shin to the side of the head knockout. Like, this was ridiculous. And then she won a full on contract for the UFC. Let's see, what else? Yeah, and her parents didn't know because she's from China, but she works as a doctor, has a PhD. Yeah, like PhD full on medical doctor, like, everything.
I'll break your bones and then I'll know how to heal them.
Pretty much. That was one of the posts I saw, was because the person in the ring had to get stretchered out because of how bad that knockout was. Like,
oh my god, I need to look this up after this podcast because that's incredible. I did not even hear about that.
I pulled the video up right before we started and I was just like watching it. I'm like, oh, it hurts my soul to see this. Why it happened? But no, like there was a picture of the opponent being put into a neck brace, and I was like, oh boy.
That is the one thing I hate about professional fighting is that they don't wear headgear. Like, I get it, but, like, also no. Like, protect your noggins, people. Which is actually why we've been really excited to see in the NFL the new helmets. Because they're trying them out, aren't they?
It's the new cap over at the Guardian cap. Yeah, that only like 5 players, I think, started the season wearing because just they think that they look unmanly and stuff like that. But they're running out there in tights, so I don't know about that.
That's very true. They are running around in tights. I think it's great, and I would love to see more players take it on.
I think it should be mandatory at this point with how bad the concussions have been getting. As someone who's had a very bad sports concussion, you do whatever you can to prevent them. And when you're playing full contact, you're going to get hit. It's a matter of when, it's a matter of how bad and how damaged you're going to be after. Put the little Guardian cap on.
I think somebody the other day literally got out with a concussion.
I mean, that clip of Tua getting rocked was all over the internet. That was nuts.
I saw a statistic this year that in the NFL, 100% of the players get injured. It's just whether or not they play through the injury.
It's a good statistic.
This is actually, while I was looking up the no escape rule, because I wanted to get straight from the start to get my facts right, I actually was looking through, like, they have an article about the announcements. I have rule innovations for season 2 on their website. And one thing that I don't know why we're not talking about this like online as much as we're talking about the no escape rule.
For the PWHL?
For the PWHL. It is going to be the first professional hockey league to assess a major penalty and game misconduct as a default penalty for all illegal checks to the head that occur during play. And they can watch back the thing and assess if it was accidental, and if it's accidental, they'll take it down to a minor penalty and stuff like that. But this is going to be default, major penalty, game misconduct, and then we'll figure it out from there. Which I thought it was really cool and a great way to help protect players. And also, you're not allowed to pull on the girl's hair or like mess with anything on their head, really. Yeah, so I think it's a really cool thing that they're doing, and I hope to see a lot of things that they put in place for the PWHL make it up to the NHL, because I think that this would actually be really helpful in the NHL, especially with the amount of fights that take place after hits, even though I love the fights.
I'm a big fan of the fights.
I'm a big fan of the fights. But if a hit to the head is considered automatically that, you're still probably going to get fights because it's hockey, but it's not necessarily going to be the same intensity of, oh, you got away with shit. So I think that's really cool. And the no escape rule is also going to be really... I'm so excited to watch the game tonight.
So tell me about this no escape rule. I read a little bit about it online. I know it's during the power play.
Okay, so essentially, if you are the team that is down a man, you cannot just immediately switch out to your penalty killer team, which you are trapped on the ice for the puck drop and have to wait for the opportunity to switch out, which in power plays can be kind of hard to come by. So if you're down a defender, then you're forced to have someone who's probably never really played defense in this professional league play defense to make up for them. I think this is going to be really cool.
Actually, that's going to be incredible, because then you're not going to have power kill teams as much, and you're going to actually see a lot more of like your favorite players trying to kill a penalty.
Okay, I have mixed feelings about this, mostly just because I'm a Boston Fleet girl, and the Boston Fleet has like the best penalty killer team.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I really want to see this in action. I think this is going to be cool. I think it's another thing that they're doing to help games be more high scoring in general, because people want to see the goals. People want to see high scoring games. It makes more people watch. That's why they have the jailbreak rule in the first place, which is different from the NHL. Is higher scoring games, more people will be excited to watch. I think this is going to be really cool, but I really want our penalty killer team to like kick ass like they always do. So I'm really excited to watch the game tonight because it's hockey. There's got to be penalties. We're going to see it in action tonight. Yeah, I'm really excited. There's a few other small rule changes this year. Like another thing, which I don't know why it's in the updates and why this wasn't originally a rule, because it seems like common sense to me. But when a goalkeeper is removed for injury, medical evaluation, the replacement goalkeeper can have a warm-up period, and they don't have to go up cold.
Oh, that's really nice.
Which is different from what we're used to, different than the NHL. But I feel like it makes sense because, like, baseball is the other sport that I watch a lot of, or at least used to. And when you have a pitcher all of a sudden switch out, they have a little more warm-up time on the mound before they get thrown right into it. To me, it makes sense.
It's also a safety thing, in my opinion, because a cold player is way more likely to get injured coming out of off the bench. In general. Plus, it's not going to be as much fun to watch them because it's going to take them a few sessions to really get warmed up and ready to go. So that'll really, I think, change the games, actually.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how that plays out. I'm really excited to see it in person. And also, there's an additional penalty for delay of game if the team that, during the whole no escape rule, if they have too many players on the ice during like a switch out to like an attempt to like confuse as to who's supposed to be on the ice, it's an additional delay of game penalty. Ooh. So don't try to get tricky with this because they will catch you, which is cool. It's exciting. I'm really looking forward to these new rules. I think the PWHL really knows what they're doing. I hope that the NHL picks up on some of these rules. You can really learn a lot from the ladies.
Well, I'm excited to see it because they just announced a women's baseball team. We have, in the Olympics, we had the first 50-50 split between male and female athletes, and I'm just really excited in general because I think the PWHL is going to flourish, and I hope that it doesn't have to struggle as much as like things like the WNBA has had to. And I think that, I mean, based on viewership and everything, it seems to be doing pretty well after their inaugural season. So I'm really excited.
And the women's lacrosse league that we're getting.
Yes. Yeah, I'm excited. My God, so many women's sports. It's making my life.
With the women's hockey, that's where I was going. It's definitely flourished a lot, especially nowadays with the whole change, because it used to be obviously just a line across the shirt with the team's name, and then it was just basically women's hockey, but it wasn't as big as it was. But now with the popularity growing in women's sports, it's changed the whole dynamic in our country and in the world technically. But because we're so used to seeing NHL men's hockey, that's 30 teams going at it with even more teams already on the way and all that. But then it's just like now we're into women's hockey. We have 6 teams. It's not a lot,
And we're getting
but it's
more.
exactly better.
Yeah, we have 2 expansion teams coming, Marcus.
Yeah, I know the ones that are. There's 2 more coming, and then they already play 30 games a season, which is a great start because 30 games is like a almost half of a regular NHL season.
Yeah, with 6 teams. So it's really impressive. Speaking of women's sports, I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the sphere that's women's college basketball right now because the upsets have been going crazy this past 2 weeks. So first, I think it was either tonight or yesterday, a couple days ago. It was pretty close. TCU beat Notre Dame, which is ranked number 3, and right before that, we had the UCLA team that was ranked number 5 beat the number 1 South Carolina. But you're like, okay, so that's not that big of a deal. South Carolina had not been beaten since the season before last season.
Wow.
They went over 40 games undefeated.
They were.
So UCLA jumped from number 5 to number 1. So UCLA was now, as of last week, was the highest ranked team with I think UConn just underneath them.
Well, yeah, you just
So
killed the number 1
bro,
team.
the upsets have been insane. I was honestly so excited to see South Carolina lose because as much as South Carolina is an incredible team and Dawn is their coach, she's incredible, but they did beat Iowa last year in the championship, and I was watching, rooting for Caitlin Clark and Kate Martin,
Bandwagon.
and they bandwagon. Listen, I know, okay, I know, I get it, but like, I'm a proud bandwagon fan. She's just such a cool rookie to watch. She was so much fun to watch. I can't help it. It's the logo threes. Really does something to you.
They are ridiculous shots.
Also, have you guys heard of Toby Fournier? Out of
Googling.
is she's a freshman from Toronto, and guess what she can do? This girl can dunk. And so we haven't really seen a lot of girls that can dunk because Brittany Griner doesn't really dunk anymore. She has not dunked in a college game yet or in an NCAA yet, and she doesn't start currently because she's just a freshman, and you can't expect to come in and just like be an incredible freshman, especially at a place like Duke. But we're really looking forward to seeing what happens this year because I think that Toby Fournier is gonna kind of kill it, and if she can develop her jump shot and actually dunk in games, she's gonna be taking my personal favorites.
That's ridiculous. Literally, the first thing that pops up when I Google her is just a picture of her dunking. What is this? That's ridiculous.
Crazy. I think she didn't go super high as far as high school recruit. I think she was still top 10 though.
She's Canadian.
But like this girl can dunk. She's gonna be the new Brittany Griner, and I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, but Brittany Griner's also like 8 inches taller than her.
Yeah, exactly. And Brittany Griner doesn't dunk anymore, so. And just for reference, Jay, Brittany Griner, she's an Olympian, and she played for Russia for a few years. She got arrested in Russia. We had to trade some high-profile criminal for her to get her back because she got arrested. I think it was for weed. Um, and then she got sent back over to here, and now she plays for the Phoenix.
The Mercury.
Yeah. Well, I think all in all, sports have been pretty crazy, and I'm really excited to see where this year is going to go. Right now, we're right in the depth of football and hockey and basketball, so it's a good time of year for sports fans. Um, But I think from now on, we're going to be picking a theme to talk about for every podcast. And I'm really excited for that. So next week, hopefully, we're going to be talking about something super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hope.
All right. Thank you. Any of you guys have anything else to add before we wrap up?
Go Boston Fleet.
Go Boston Fleet!
Yeah.
Marcus, you got to pick a team, man.
I already picked
bandwagon.
Montreal. I already picked Montreal. You can.
You traitor.
I'm sorry. They're closer than the. I mean,
Is
Boston's
it just
closer,
because of
but
the logo?
no, I just
They-
don't. Well, granted, the Boston. I'm not a big fan of the Boston logo to begin with, but I just kind of blindly picked. I was like, I'll pick a team, see how they do, stick with it, and I'll just stick with it no matter how they do.
I really want to do a podcast ranking the logos of the different teams and like the names of the different teams, because I just want an excuse to call like some of the teams mid. Because the New York Islanders, the name, the logo, it's all yikes.
Yeah.
Still a better name than most.
I think the Devils is great.
The Devils is great.
I'm sorry, but when you have multiple leagues with teams with the same names, we have a problem.
Point taken. Point taken. But also, Islanders? This isn't Survivor, this is hockey.
It's true. I'm kind of with Jay on this one. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Like, at least, come on, pick something original. Like, there's so many cool animals that you could have picked. Like, my personal favorite, in hockey at least, is the Krakens. I think they're sick. I like their jerseys a lot. And I know they're pretty recent. I'm excited to see what Utah picks for an actual logo and, like, team name. Because I don't think they're sticking with the Utah club team, are they?
It's one of the possibilities, though.
If they do, it'll be kind of disappointing.
They're picking a bunch of names, but it's still the possibility of it.
All right. Thank you all for listening, and we're going to wrap it up.